Hello, I'm Simon Whistler, you're watching the Today I Found Out YouTube channel, and in the video today we're looking at how the maximum occupancy of a building is calculated. Generally speaking, the maximum occupancy of a room or building is primarily determined by the available exits, with each exit accommodating only a certain number of people before bottlenecking occurs. The other key component in determining the maximum occupancy of a building or room is the intended use of the space, whether it's, for instance, a restaurant with tables and chairs or a more open event space. More specifically, the International Building Code (IBC) provides an international standard for calculating the maximum occupancy of an area. The IBC defines an exit or a means of egress as a continuous and unobstructed path of vertical or horizontal egress travel from any occupied portion of the building or structure to a public way. That law can be found in the 2009 International Building Code on page 218. In the United States, the National Fire Prevention Association, the NFPA for short, also forbids an exit from leading occupants through a kitchen or a storage room on their way out of the building. In order to determine the maximum number of people who are allowed to safely be in a room or building, the IBC recommends a certain number of inches of doorway per occupant. Exits that consist of a stairway need to have 0.3 inches of doorway per person, and all other exits need 0.2 inches of doorway per person. So a function hall that has a maximum occupancy of 1,000 people and an exit that consisted of a corridor without stairs will need 200 inches of doorway. With doorways at about 36 inches in width, wider than the Americans with Disabilities Act requires in the United States, that function hall would need approximately 6 such doors. As mentioned, there is another important consideration for determining the occupancy of a space, and that is the intended use of the space. A restaurant with chairs and tables will have a smaller maximum occupancy than a bar with an open dance floor or an open layout. The IBC recommends for spaces with unconcentrated use of chairs and tables, such as a restaurant, that 15 square feet on that floor of the building be dedicated to each occupant. That means a 500 square foot restaurant might have a maximum occupancy of 33 people. However, the IBC recommends areas with concentrated use of chairs, such as a bar with a dance floor, have 7 square feet of floor space on that floor to each person. The same 500 square foot space in a bar with a dance floor would have a tentative maximum occupancy of 71 people. All of that said, however, what really matters is whether or not there are enough exits to allow all of those occupants to safely leave the building during an emergency. The impetus for these regulations in the United States specifically dates back to the worst hotel fire in the country's history. This was the Winecoff Hotel fire, which occurred in the early hours of the morning on December 7th, 1946 in Atlanta, Georgia. The 15-story hotel, considered fireproof due to its brick exterior, had a single staircase that allowed guests to move from the upper floors to the first floor. That staircase had turned into a chimney for the smoke and fire by the time that firefighters arrived at 3:45 a.m. A number of trapped guests tried to escape through their windows, but only a small portion managed to survive their escape, while the rest either died inside the building or fell to their deaths. The fire resulted in 119 fatalities, which amounted to 41% of the hotel's guests that night. Of the remaining, 65 were injured, and the rest made it to safety, whether because they were below the third-floor fire level or were rescued by the 385 firefighters who ultimately responded to the fire. This fire occurred just 6 months after the LaSalle Hotel fire, which killed 61 people. After these fires, President Truman ordered a national conference on fire prevention to revise the fire codes for buildings. And now for some bonus facts. One of the deadliest nightclub fires in US history took place at the Coconut Grove in Boston, killing 492 people. Legally, the club was only authorized to have a maximum of 460 people in it. There was only one other such event fire at a theater in Chicago in 1903 that had a higher death toll. 602 people died. Like the Winecoff Hotel fire, the Coconut Grove nightclub fire brought about some major changes in safety standards and building codes. Most notably, all exterior doors to commercial buildings had to open outwards. This was not the case at the Coconut Grove Club, and when the fire started, a crowd of people rushed to the doors to get out. The surge of people pushing against the doors prevented the inward opening doors from opening, trapping those people inside. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below, and don't forget to subscribe for brand new videos just like this every day of the week. I'd also like to thank our patrons on Patreon. If you are interested in helping us out with a small monthly financial contribution, please do head over to patreon.com/TodayIFoundOut. It helps us make these daily videos and helps keep them coming, so that would be much appreciated. And as always, thank you for watching.